Do you like to dress in black?
Sometimes when I feel a little bloated, sure.
Would that be conditional?
Yeah,
All right.
conditional.
All right. Do you self-identify as male?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Do you consider yourself urban chic?
Chic, but maybe not the urban.
Okay. You just going chic. All right. Do you self-identify as gay?
Yes.
Okay. Are you Christian?
Yes.
Would you describe yourself as having a disability and using a wheelchair as primary mobility?
Yes.
Do you have a strong sense of self?
I do.
Are you thoughtful?
Sometimes.
Do you have a good sense of humor?
I do. Yeah.
Are you proud?
I am.
And is that proud limited only to disability?
Now,
Okay, all right.
all my intersections.
All your intersections, all right? And maybe you'll tell us about those.
Yes.
In terms of reflective, are you reflective?
I am. And before I say anything, I think about it.
All right. And let's see. Tell me about how you perceive your skin color.
Well, I'm pale because it's fall. Actually, I usually am a lot tanner than this. I'm Latino, so I tan very easily. But it's interesting that you said my color's white. That's interesting.
Next stop, tanning salon.
Right?
All right.
Pasty.
So, and is there anything else you'd like to share with this group about how you self-identify?
Yeah, I mean, I take a lot of pride in my work. I work on some national policy. I'm not going to tell you where or what I do, but I've been working since I was 17. I also grew up in foster care, so I moved out of foster care when I was 17, and I've worked with youth my entire life. So these are things, when you're looking at somebody, you wouldn't get by thinking about them. When people look at me, they see the disability and they automatically have sort of a knee-jerk reaction. He needs help, he needs assistance, we need to do things for him. So in that unconscious way, even though you think you're doing good and great and wonderful things, that might shift some of those words and feelings that you have about me. All my internal parts there may be shifted as well. So these things that you said, you guys were pretty accurate, I would say. The white skin kind of threw me off because I do have a high cultural identity as Hispanic, and so like when I hear that, I'm like, huh, what am I doing perception-wise for you to think that way? But you know, it's interesting. Nobody said he's employed or he's well, they did say Christian. He's a policy specialist or an advocate, right? So these are things that people don't think about when they look at somebody with a disability. And so, as good as this was, there are things that could have gone below even more, deeper, with a little bit of a conversation. So, I like being on display. That was fun. No, I have up till 11, so I'm good. 5 minutes. Oh, it's 10. Yeah, I'm good. So yeah, I think that like when people think of somebody with a disability, right? They don't think of somebody who may have gone through certain things that have really shaped them in a different way, right? When we look at disability, we tend to put categories really quickly, like this person needs this person needs that. We don't think of all the internal things that somebody with a disability might need because of their background, because of the richness of their background. Our perception of somebody with a disability can really hinder the way we service them, the way we treat them, and that sort of is a constant thing that I have to shift my mental models. When I'm working, I'm constantly vibing somebody's values and not adjusting mine completely, but being aware of their values and seeing where mine can fit in better, because I'm a lot, as we see here. I'm a lot. I am a lot of intersections. I'm dynamic. I'm very much a lot for people to take. If I'm being real, like when people roll into a meeting with me, you know, there's usually lots of people in suits. I've worked in the corporate industry, I've worked in nonprofits, now I work, you know, more government. And so when people look at me, they have, I wouldn't say low expectations, but their expectations are one of a professional, are one of a, oh, this person's been through so much and he has sort of a toughness to him. I'm surprised nobody said that as toughness or like resilience, because once you know me, I guess those things come up, but we don't really look at somebody with a disability and say, oh, that person's tough or resilient, or they can bounce back. They look at the vulnerability first, and that shapes their value or the way they look at somebody. So these are just things that I want you to think about as we continue this morning and as we move forward. Like, you do not know someone's story, but you can give them the opportunity and allow them the ability to share with you. Because people tell you exactly what you need to know about them if you listen. So thank you very much for putting me on display. I appreciate it.
I was hoping before we shift, that you would just talk a little bit about intersectionality in terms of your identities as it relates to the experience that you have as being male and Latino with the disabilities and, quite frankly, chic. Okay.
Okay, so I am Christian, Latina, gay, disabled, obviously. The disability is something that I cannot hide, but what I constantly have to do a lot of the time is compartmentalize my Christianity and my LGBTQ-ness. Funny story is I go to brunch with a lot of my friends that are in the LGBTQ community, and they do not understand why I go to church, why I have such a strong sense of faith. My faith kicked in when I was in foster care, because I knew there had to be something more and better out there, beyond my circumstance. And so I said, I don't know what it is, but I know there is something. So my faith really was the core of everything that I was. So when I came out as LGBTQ, I already had the disability. I was born with CP. So dealing with that intersectionality, and then God telling me that, oh, by the way, you're gay, I was like, really? You're gonna do this to me, really? So having to deal with those three things was so difficult. And I lost my way in my adolescence, trying to compartmentalize and trying to be accepted. But it was only until I unified those three things in my core that I was able to say, holy crap, you're gonna change something within others, because you're already changing everything within yourself. You're gonna be able to use that as your way into everything. So that being said, is as much as I have to compartmentalize with my Christian friends and my LGBTQ friends, I realize that my purpose is to be all those things at every single moment of every single day. my work as well. What you see here is what you see in my policy work. So that really flips people's heads because they're like, he's a real person. Oh my gosh, but he knows what he's talking about. He knows legislation, he knows policy, and he can move forward. So these are things that I really want you to take with you. These are attributes of somebody and their core values, but you don't know any of that when you look at someone, right? None of those things come immediate. So this is why listening and having like the biggest ears instead of having a knee-jerk reaction of saying, let me triage, let me assist, is purposeful.
Thank you, Andy.
Thank you.